Biafran Liberation Army clash with armed Fulani herdsmen in Umunede in a heavy gun battle in Biafra land. These Fulani herdsmen are responsible for all the rampage killings and kidnappings in Umunede, which is also a Biafran territory. A group of individuals was kidnapped in Umunede, Biafran land, allegedly by Fulani herdsmen, sparking concerns about security forces in action. Some critics questioned why Nigerian security agents, despite having superior resources, did not chase after the kidnappers when they fled into the bush. They criticized the alleged subjugation of indigenous groups by Fulani interests, warning Yoruba people of potential consequences. This news update highlights rising violence, school closures, and attacks in southeastern Nigeria, attributing them to government negligence and infiltration by armed groups. Meanwhile, some critics have defended the Eastern Security Network, ESN, stating it was formed due to the failure of Nigerian government security forces and criticizing new security outfits for not targeting actual threats. They insist that Monday's sit-at-home protests will not stop until the release of Nnamdi Kanu, criticizing political leaders for trying to suppress them. They asserts that Biafra is becoming an independent nation and warns Nigerian authorities to remove military forces from Biafran land. They accuses Nigeria's leadership of being dominated by Muslims, leading to perceived persecution of Christians and indigenous Biafrans. They also commended a young Biafran innovator who built a unique car, emphasizing Biafran ingenuity and the claim that Biafra, not Nigeria, is the true giant of Africa. They called for financial and institutional backing to support young Biafran talents, aiming for global recognition and development outside Nigeria. Let me sit down with you for a minute and tell you about something that's been on my mind lately. A story that's both heartbreaking and charged with anger, hope, and determination. I'm talking about what went down in Umunede, a town deep in what many of us refer to as Biafra land. It's a story of clashes, of deep-seated grievances, and of people fighting for their dignity and freedom. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let me take you through it in my own words. Imagine waking up one day in a place you call home, a town where the pace of life is steady and neighbors know each other by name. Now picture that same town suddenly echoing with the loud, terrifying sounds of gunfire. That's what happened in Umunede. Reports started coming in that the Biafran Liberation Army had clashed head-on with armed Fulani herdsmen in a heavy, intense gun battle. This wasn't just any skirmish. It was a showdown that left the community reeling and the nation questioning how things had come to this. I remember thinking, how could such violence erupt in a place that's supposed to be peaceful? The incident wasn't a random flare-up. It was part of a larger narrative, one that has been unfolding in Biafra for a long time. For those who might not be familiar, Biafra land is an area where the indigenous people have been struggling to maintain their identity, their rights, and their way of life, often in the face of forces that seem determined to erase them. Now you might ask, who exactly are these Fulani herdsmen, and why are they in the middle of all this chaos? Well, the Fulani herdsmen have become notorious in these parts for more than just cattle rearing. In Umunede, and indeed in other parts of the region, they've been linked to a series of rampage killings and kidnappings. It's said that these herdsmen are behind many of the abductions that have rattled the community, kidnappings that leave families desperate and security forces scratching their heads. I can still picture the scene described by some of the locals. A black jeep rolls into town, and before anyone knows what's happening, people are being seized and chaos erupts. According to accounts, as soon as these kidnappers made their move, security agents, be they policemen or military personnel, seemed to hesitate. Instead of chasing after the fleeing kidnappers who melted away into the bush, many of these agents were left standing around. It's as if they were paralyzed, unsure of how to respond, or perhaps too compromised by other influences. That inaction has left a bitter taste in the mouths of many. I mean, think about it. Here we have security forces that are supposed to be our shield, and yet, when the moment of crisis came, they were nowhere to be seen in full force. People started questioning, why aren't these supposed protectors moving in to stop the kidnappers? There was a lot of finger-pointing. Some locals and critics have even gone as far as to say that the security forces are more interested in protecting the interests of a select few than in safeguarding the lives of the indigenous people of Biafra. This is where things get really complex. On one side, you have the ordinary people who feel betrayed by their government and its institutions. On the other, there's a narrative that the indigenous communities are being systematically subjugated, overrun by external influences and interests that do not have their best interests at heart. Many in the community even warned that if this trend continues, it could have dire consequences for not just the people of Biafra, but also for other groups in the region, including the Yoruba, who might eventually find themselves in similar predicaments. I'll never forget one particular moment when a passionate voice came through on social media. The speaker, with a tone that was both defiant and anguished, began by saying, "Can you see, my brothers and sisters, how these kidnappers operate in our own land? They storm in, take our people, and then vanish into the bush, while our security forces just stand there." His words resonated with so many of us who have felt the sting of neglect and abandonment by the authorities. He went on to question the very competence of those tasked with our protection. In simple, raw language, he asked, "Why aren't you chasing after these kidnappers? Why are our protectors standing idle while our people are being torn apart?" His anger wasn't just about the violence, it was a cry for accountability. He argued that if the people continue to allow this kind of inaction, then it would only embolden those who seek to oppress us further. And indeed, he warned, if nothing changes, we might all end up powerless, as if we were nothing more than bystanders in our own land. When regular security forces fail, sometimes communities take matters into their own hands. In response to the ongoing neglect, many in the region began to question why they should continue to depend solely on a government that seems indifferent to their plight. This sentiment led to the formation of alternative security outfits, among which the Eastern Security Network, ESN, stands out. The ESN was born out of a deep frustration with the state of affairs, a collective decision to protect one's own community when the state fails to do so. Critics of the new security outfits, however, argue that they sometimes end up targeting not the actual threats, but rather those who dare to stand up for their land. Yet, there are many who defend the ESN, saying it's a necessary response to years of government inaction. In a sense, the ESN isn't just about security. It's a symbol of resistance, a sign that the people are no longer willing to be passive victims of neglect and oppression. But the story doesn't stop at a clash on the streets of Umunede. It quickly evolved into a much larger struggle, one that touches on issues of national identity, autonomy, and even survival. Many voices within Biafra have begun to assert that their land is not just a part of Nigeria, but a sovereign entity with its own identity, history, and destiny. They insist that Biafra is on the path to becoming an independent nation, a move that would force Nigerian authorities to rethink their approach completely. There's a lot of talk about a figure named Nnamdi Kanu, a leader whose detention has sparked widespread protests and calls for his release. Every Monday, sit-at-home protests erupt across the region, a powerful and persistent demand that the government finally do something about what many see as an ongoing injustice. These protests are not just political demonstrations, they are a declaration of resilience and a refusal to accept the status quo. As one passionate speaker put it, "We won't stop until Nnamdi Kanu is set free, until our voices are truly heard." Many critics and community leaders have leveled harsh accusations at Nigeria's leadership. They argue that the government is dominated by interests that do not reflect the diverse makeup of the country. Some claim that the leadership is overwhelmingly influenced by certain religious or ethnic groups, often they say Muslims, at the expense of Christians and indigenous Biafrans. This perception of favoritism and bias has only fueled the fire of resentment and deepened the divide. I remember reading accounts from local residents who described the sudden shift from normalcy to chaos. One parent said, "We used to feel safe in our own homes, but now every sound makes us jump. There's a constant fear that at any moment, violence could break out again." These personal stories are a stark contrast to the sterile headlines we sometimes see in the news. They remind us that behind every statistic and every report, there are real lives being upended. In the midst of all this turmoil, there have been voices rising up, voices of defiance, of anger, and of an unwavering commitment to justice. I recall a particularly memorable message that was shared widely online, a message that was both a call to arms and a plea for unity. The speaker, in his own raw and unfiltered way, challenged not only the criminals who had wreaked havoc, but also the authorities who had failed to protect the people. He said things like, "Our security forces have been compromised. They stand idly by while our people are being kidnapped and killed." His words were a rallying cry, urging every member of the community to take a stand and to demand accountability from those in power. It wasn't just about condemning the acts of violence, it was about challenging a system that, for far too long, had failed to safeguard its citizens. This call to arms wasn't just about physical security. It was a demand for respect, for dignity, and for a chance to reclaim a future that many feared was slipping away. It was a declaration that Biafra, with all its history and culture, would no longer be treated as a second-class citizen within a larger nation. And as the voices grew louder, they also carried a message of hope. A hope that one day the struggles of the past would give way to a future where justice and equality reign supreme. Now, amid all this conflict and strife, there's another side to the story that often gets overlooked: the incredible ingenuity of the Biafran people. In the middle of political debates and armed clashes, a spark of creativity has emerged. I was really taken aback when I heard about a young Biafran innovator who built a unique, one-of-a-kind car. This isn't just a car, it's a symbol of the resourcefulness and brilliance that exists among the people of Biafra. Imagine a vehicle designed with ingenuity that challenges the status quo, much like the people who built it. This car, with its clever features and innovative design, stands as a testament to what Biafran talent can achieve when given the chance. While some may see the conflict as a tale of despair, others see it as a crucible that is forging new ideas and new ways of thinking. The young innovator's creation isn't just a machine. It's a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, creativity can flourish. Many in the community have taken this innovation as a sign that Biafra is destined for greatness. Biafran Liberation Army clash with armed Fulani herdsmen in Umunede in a heavy gun battle in Biafra land. These Fulani herdsmen are responsible for all the rampage killings and kidnappings in Umunede, which is also a Biafran territory. A group of individuals was kidnapped in Umunede, Biafran land, allegedly by Fulani herdsmen, sparking concerns about security forces in action. Some critics questioned why Nigerian security agents, despite having superior resources, did not chase after the kidnappers when they fled into the bush. They criticized the alleged subjugation of indigenous groups by Fulani interests, warning Yoruba people of potential consequences. This news update highlights rising violence, school closures, and attacks in southeastern Nigeria, attributing them to government negligence and infiltration by armed groups. Meanwhile, some critics have defended the Eastern Security Network, ESN, stating it was formed due to the failure of Nigerian government security forces and criticizing new security outfits for not targeting actual threats. They insists that Monday's sit-at-home protests will not stop until the release of Nnamdi Kanu, criticizing political leaders for trying to suppress them. They asserts that Biafra is becoming an independent nation and warns Nigerian authorities to remove military forces from Biafran land. They accuses Nigeria's leadership of being dominated by Muslims, leading to perceived persecution of Christians and indigenous Biafrans. They also commended a young Biafran innovator who built a unique car, emphasizing Biafran ingenuity and the claim that Biafra, not Nigeria, is the true giant of Africa. They called for financial and institutional backing to support young Biafran talents, aiming for global recognition and development outside Nigeria. Let me sit down with you for a minute and tell you about something that's been on my mind lately. A story that's both heartbreaking and charged with anger, hope, and determination. I'm talking about what went down in Umunede, a town deep in what many of us refer to as Biafra land. It's a story of clashes, of deep-seated grievances, and of people fighting for their dignity and freedom. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let me take you through it in my own words. Imagine waking up one day in a place you call home, a town where the pace of life is steady and neighbors know each other by name. Now picture that same town suddenly echoing with the loud, terrifying sounds of gunfire. That's what happened in Umunede. Reports started coming in that the Biafran Liberation Army had clashed head-on with armed Fulani herdsmen in a heavy, intense gun battle. This wasn't just any skirmish. It was a showdown that left the community reeling and the nation questioning how things had come to this. I remember thinking, how could such violence erupt in a place that's supposed to be peaceful? The incident wasn't a random flare-up. It was part of a larger narrative, one that has been unfolding in Biafra for a long time. For those who might not be familiar, Biafra land is an area where the indigenous people have been struggling to maintain their identity, their rights, and their way of life, often in the face of forces that seem determined to erase them. Now you might ask, who exactly are these Fulani herdsmen, and why are they in the middle of all this chaos? Well, the Fulani herdsmen have become notorious in these parts for more than just cattle rearing. In Umunede, and indeed in other parts of the region, they've been linked to a series of rampage killings and kidnappings. It's said that these herdsmen are behind many of the abductions that have rattled the community, kidnappings that leave families desperate and security forces scratching their heads. I can still picture the scene described by some of the locals. A black jeep rolls into town, and before anyone knows what's happening, people are being seized and chaos erupts. According to accounts, as soon as these kidnappers made their move, security agents, be they policemen or military personnel, seemed to hesitate. Instead of chasing after the fleeing kidnappers who melted away into the bush, many of these agents were left standing around. It's as if they were paralyzed, unsure of how to respond, or perhaps too compromised by other influences. That inaction has left a bitter taste in the mouths of many. I mean, think about it. Here we have security forces that are supposed to be our shield, and yet, when the moment of crisis came, they were nowhere to be seen in full force. People started questioning, why aren't these supposed protectors moving in to stop the kidnappers? There was a lot of finger-pointing.
Can you see, my brothers and sisters, the way Fulani people are still doing their kidnapping business in Biafran land? Imagine, these people were kidnapped in that black Toyota Jeep that parked there. They were stopped and were kidnapped, and immediately they sighted the policemen or the military men coming, they ran into the bush. But the question is, why did these policemen or military men, why are they standing here? Why did they not run after them? I mean, the kind of ammunition they have as a security agent, is it not more superior than the one these guys have? Why are they not pursuing those kidnappers inside the forest?
Now these people, really useless. Thank God I don't meet them. They have our glass motor. I don't know how many people are here. They break the glass, yes, sir. Now.
Where the bullet?
I don't know. They say here now. Okay, I know. Okay, sir. Get them better I thought to be able to.
Every Yoruba person supporting Fulani, you are setting up yourself to become like the Hausa people. Remember when Hausa was supporting Fulani? We are Hausa Fulani. We are Hausa Fulani. Where are the Hausa people today? Ask you. Fulani have completely overwhelmed them. It's called emasculation. Completely emasculated them. The same thing is going to happen to you. Traitors, saboteurs in your midst, they will promise them heaven and earth. They will give them anything they ask for in order to ensure that they get into you, they subjugate you. Now they have left the Lauren, having taken a Lauren and taken it to Sokoto. They now want to come into Oyo. They want to come into Ondo. Once they take over all those places, it's over for the Yoruba race. Over for you. By the time the Fulanis are done with you, believe you me, if you don't rise up now to fight for your freedom, by the time Fulanis are done with you, you'll be more useless than a Hausa peasant doing Babiala somewhere in Zaria. That is the future that awaits you. Now, our people must understand this very clearly, especially my Yoruba brothers and sisters. It is about time you stop supporting evil.
Come yourself inside house. Everybody for Umunede don't like all the old schools where don't Umunede. Everybody don't enter inside house. If I need your way, you need to be safe. Where this class the Ara lesu Umunede.
Umunede at trouble now. Hausa people is creating violence in Umunede. You can see that some schools have shut down. This is Umunede, close to Abo. What is happening in this country? What is happening?
Hello my fans, welcome to Magnetic Jigs TV. Umunede is on fire because the Fulani Herdsmen invaded Umunede. Ha batara n'ime Umunede na-egbusi ndị mmadụ ka esi egbu ọkụkọ. Ọbụnadị ụdịka ihe dị otu a ha mere na Ọsụ, villages ndị a dịsị na Ọsụ. Ha gasịrị Eziawa, Amaebu na other places. Ha gasịrị ya na ebe ndị mmadụ ka ebe a na-ebe anụ ayatata yota. So that's exactly what happened here in Umunede. The Fulani Herdsmen invaded Umunede with their AK-47 rifle and they started shooting. People were running helter-skelter. So all these things you are seeing, how can it be possible that a group of persons will just invade your village? Biana abandon mmadụ and ha gbasịa ha nakwa. Nwere ihe ndị gọọmenti na-ekwu. I don't know if you understand the exact of rubbish that is happening in this country, Nigeria. Ndị Fulani a ga-eji wee na-akpa ụdịkike ha na-akpa all the way from Sahara Desert ha si wee bata n'obodo mmadụ. Also na-achụ ndị obodo ọsọ. Kedu ebe dike nọ? Ihe niile abịa ha anyị na-ekwu okwu ya. You kill dike, egbuo dike, mgbe ihe ike mezie achọba dike. That's exactly what is happening in our own southeastern part of Nigeria. That is Biafran land. You started killing your brothers. You started killing the people that are fighting to make sure that Biafran land is not taken over by the Fulani Herdsmen. You form a group. You are killing your own brother. I hope all our governors, I hope all our indigenes, I hope all our brothers and sisters are seeing what is happening.
Thank you so much. It will affect them. It don't matter finish now. The one don't die now. This is the current situation of the town now. The people with their vaccination say Fulani kill their men. They don't invade our town, enter our community, destroy everywhere, put fire. We don't get tired. This is the current situation for New Road now. Umunede right away now. This is what we are facing right away now. This is what is happening now.
One thing people do not understand is when these Fulani Herdsmen doing anyhow in Enugu State and Ebonyi, That was when Mazen Nnamdi Kanu rose up and started crying and started shouting, telling the governors that we should form a personal security. We shouldn't be depending our life in the hands of federal government security, the police, the army, that they have already compromised. But the Eastern State governors then refused to hear his voice until he took it upon himself to form the Eastern Security Network. That was when they now rose up to fight against Nnamdi Kanu and his Eastern Security Network. Okay, let's assume today that Eastern Security Network is no longer working. Then, all these dear Ebubago, what are they doing? Have they ever arrested or killed or by any Fulani Herdsmen that are killing people? No. All these new security that are forming today, they are not even forming those securities to safeguard or to safeguard our forest or our land. They are always forming them to go and fight people that are doing good, to go and fight the Biafran Liberation Army. Not be good thing where they happen at all. Since the arrest of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu and the Simon Ekpa, things that is not supposed to be has been happening in Biafran land, especially in Southeast. So many people are now rising against their brothers, killing their brothers. It is where may God save us all.
Market and threaten our mothers and our fathers and our sisters and our brothers where they are doing their daily and lawful activities every day aside from Monday. And I want to use this opportunity to tell these people that they should be careful with us. They should be careful with the government in exile, because we don't know who you are. You are a thief and a criminal, and we want to pass this message across to you guys. Please go to the person who sent you, if it's the governors that sent you to come here, that without the release of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, that sit at home every Monday can never stop. They can never stop the sit at home on Mondays. Sit at home on Mondays can only die a natural death if they release Onyendu Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Without that, no governor, no president has the right, no House of Rep member, no House of Senate members has the right to stop the sit at home on Monday, because they are holding one of us, and that is Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, that they went to Kenya to kidnap unlawfully and brought him to try him illegally. And this same man won them in the competent court of jurisdiction in Nigeria, and they refused to release him against his will. So on this note, we are telling the governors, the House of Senate members, and these criminal elements that goes about threatening our people to desist from it, because we are now a nation. I hope you realize that our country is speeding up to become a full-fledged country. So none of you have the rights to threaten our people, because if you do that again, we will identify you, and you know the next thing that is coming. So please, Gumi cannot be walking freely, and then Mazen Nnamdi Kanu will be sitting in prison for doing nothing, and the only thing Mazen Nnamdi Kanu did or committed was fighting for the freedom of his people. We cannot be alive and watch that happen. We cannot. So these idiots that went and started threatening our people should desist from that. Desist from that, because we are not here to joke. Look at my face, we are not joking. And I don't care what anybody will say about this thing. I don't care. If you want to stop the Monday sit at home, please go and release Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Go and tell the criminal drug lord, the man who forged the certificate to become a Chicago State University graduate, to release our leader Onyendu Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Without that, nobody should threaten our citizens again. Otherwise, you will not like the outcome of the result of what we are going to bring to your table. So please, desist from threatening our citizens. And Sunday Igboho cannot be free because he's a Yoruba man, and Nnamdi Kanu is detained in DSSS dungeon. Showore cannot be granted bail, and then Mazen Nnamdi Kanu will still remain in DSSS dungeon. That is totally unacceptable by the governments of the United States of Biafra. And we are using this opportunity to tell every individual that is in Anambra, Imo, Enugu, Onitsha, Owerri, that they should stay at home on Mondays, because if you come out, they will come, they will kill you, they will label it on IPOB, because they'll be looking for a way to label IPOB a terrorist organization. What is the meaning of IPOB and what is the meaning of IPOB? The meaning of IPOB are indigenous people of Biafra. And that is who we are. We are the indigenous people that they are trying to kill. And that's why Gumi could use his mouth to say that give Igbos gun to go and kill Biafrans. And that's, if you look very well, brothers and sisters, that is what Soludo is planning to do, because his election is coming up. But on that election day, we're going to tell you people what will come up again. Secondly, we want to use this opportunity to tell Musa that you should please, Biafra is now a sovereign nation and a sovereignty, to remove all its terrorist soldiers in our land, because we do not want any confrontation, war confrontation with your soldiers. Those your soldiers there are illegitimate soldiers, and they are terrorists. They are the one kidnapping and causing insecurity in the southeast. They should be removed from our soil. Our soil is now a sovereignty and a sovereign nation. Please, we are telling Musa to stop killing our people, our parents, those people that was murdered from December to January, even up till now that are making this video. Promise you guys that the Biafran government is doing something about it, and those deaths will be revenged. They will all be revenged. And we are telling Musa to remove his army from our land. We don't care what you think. We don't care who is in charge. You can imagine a country where the president is a Muslim, the vice president is a Muslim, the chief of army staff is a Muslim, the commissioner of police is a Muslim, the IG of police is a Muslim, the custom is a Muslim, the chief magistrate of the court is a Muslim, the CGN is a Muslim. You can imagine what will become of that country. There is no progress that is going to happen in that country. So please, we are asking Musa that stop killing the Christians, and the Christians are the indigenous people of Biafra. And please, we are not going to warn these people again that came to threaten our people that they should leave where they are. Sorry, that they should not come out. If they don't come out on Monday, they shouldn't come out on Tuesday. So we are warning you people to desist from that action. Anybody that tells you if the government have paid you money to come and do this nonsense, please stop it. We are not joking with our people. We are not laughing with our people. We love our people so much, and we are here to defend and protect them from your evil acts, and we are not going to tolerate any nonsense from the government of Nigeria anymore. So Biafrans, I am here strongly telling you that Madam Ngozi Oruagbeze, who is the acting prime minister as we speak, is doing everything wonderfully well to make sure that all the deaths of the people that came to enjoy themselves in December is being revenged. She is doing everything in our power to make sure that the people that kill these people will be brought to book, because we know that it's Musa boys that did all these things. Thank you so much, Biafrans, and may God bless you guys. And we use this opportunity to say, may God bless Nnamdi Kanu, may God bless our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa, and may God bless our DPM. Madam Ngozi Oruagbeze, thank you so much, and see you in my next video.
Guys, this is one of the things why we needed Biafra to stand as a nation of its own. Can you just imagine how creative this young guy is? Don't you understand where we are going? Let's say, one of the brokers of Nnamdi, before he was arrested, he said that the Westerners are afraid of Biafrans, and they are saying that they do not want another Japan in Africa, because indeed, I'm with brain.
I don't think I said they see you for free. He say,
wow, so I just saw this now, this car. Let me.
The name Gravity Blackbird.
It's called what?
Gravity Blackbird. The name is at the back.
Gravity. Let me see.
So this is
okay.
Yeah, that's the name.
This is it. Gravity.
So this is my house. Social media handle.
Blackbird.
Yeah.
This is. So now the car, it has one tire behind.
I actually came up with my own vision. I just came up with my own concept. You look at this car very well, you see that this car, you will never see a car that looks like this in the whole wide world. You understand? And if you come to the door now, the door does not have like a normal car now. So you make use of this button to open it. So once you turn on the button, you open automatically.
This button.
Yeah. Let's go to the other side. Let me show you. Because we started off with remote. I didn't set it up with remote.
You just started with a remote control.
So if I want to close the door,
Wow.
I don't need to do this now. If I do this now, where is the lady? And if I still want to open it, I can still open it.
It comes up by itself. Wow.
The car actually has a lot of features. Coming to this company, you have a chair at the top. So this chair is actually when you go out, maybe with your partner and you want to have fun, there's a staircase over there. There's a little climb, and you have a space for umbrella. You also have a space for charging system. You understand? So it's very comfortable, and we have sound system over there. So if I put it on the back, you see your back from down and well. So that's the other part of the. If I put it on the, I think you can see. That's the back.
Wow. All right, guys. So I will just. So that's my car over there. So I was just driving in Lagos, Nigeria, and I ran into this guy. Your what? Social media handle. That's his social media handle. Yeah, but I'm actually going to get his social media handle and promote him. This one is very, very personal to me because it's from Enugu State.
We are creative. We Africans, we Biafrans are very, very creative. Are you getting me? We can even become world power in a due time, in time to come. We have a very creative mind. We are indeed, all the giants of Africa you are hearing, it's not Nigeria. Nigeria is not the giant of Africa. Biafrans are the giant of Africa because now we hold Nigeria. The very moment Biafrans will leave Nigeria and have a nation of its own, that is the collapse of the Tower of Babel called Nigeria. I'm telling you, that is the collapse of Nigeria, guys. That is the collapse of Nigeria. So you see this young man, how creative he is. Or more, if say government will support him under the nation called Biafra.
So I don't even know what to say. I'm just short of words. So what I can tell you, what's that your name again? ACC Busy.
ACC
Wheezy.
Yeah. Although my plan is that if I can get an offer to get, because there's this school I saw in UK that is cheatest star. So for them to offer me 1 year diploma. So it's about 24 million for total package.
Are you sure UK is better for you? Is it UK or US?
So anyone that is available, anyone. I don't just want my career to die on the streets, you know. And there's a lot of distraction on the streets. So if I is there an opportunity to get over there, you know, that's just my plan.
Right, guys.
We need to make
I'm gonna really wanna. I don't want to say that I want to help him because I don't have the capacity to help him. But I think there are a lot of people who have capacity to help this young man. And I think we can all band together and make this happen. I can see that happen already. This is just beyond ingenious. This is too much. And, you know, Agme will tell you, I may need your number.
Okay, sir.
Your phone number, eh?
Yes, sir.
And your contact. You've been in Lagos here?
Yeah, I stayed at Ikeja.
Okay, I'll travel very soon, but before I travel, I need to have your contact. I need your number.
We actually two that is doing it. Me and one of my
Two of you, and I'd like to see you guys. Before I go anywhere, I want to have a physical meeting with you and your partner. I don't want to say too much online on the video. When we meet, we'll talk. But I think that this needs to be promoted. This has to go far. People will look back at this and remember the first time that you showcased it. When the real one happens, they will remember today.
This is the end of our news update. Please click the icon on the top right corner of your screen to watch my next video. You will enjoy it. I will see you again in my next update. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now.